Hi, it's Adam again with Insurite Insurance Agency. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about your automotive liability limits on your insurance. And some of you may not be aware what your liability limits are, and that's just fine for this little demonstration, but it may be worth looking into to see what you have. Some people are so focused on price when they are purchasing insurance that they don't realize what their legal liability is to other people. So basically, here's the breakdown. It's usually your liability is going to be broke up into three different sections. You're going to have per person, per accident, and then a property damage limit. And this is going to protect other people that you happen to slam to if you get in a car accident that you're at fault for. So, for an example, Utah state minimums are currently 25, 65, 15, or 25,000, 65,000, 15,000. Now, these first two numbers, the 25 and 65, these are your bodily injury liability limits. This is also basically what the medical expenses toward that individual are going to pay out. So, let's say you're driving down the road and slam into somebody, you send them to the hospital, they need back surgery, and it's under $25,000. Then yeah, they're going to pay out 25,000. If it's more than $25,000 on that one individual, well then hey, they're capped out at 25,000. And where does the rest of that money come from? You guessed it, they're going to come after you. They can do that through, having you make payments. They can sue you. They can garnish your wages. It just depends on how seriously you injure somebody. Now the 65,000 is going to go if you have multiple people in the car. So say you had two people in the car, and they each had $25,000 in medical expenses. You're probably going to be okay, because there's going to be that number that'll pay $50,000 out. You still have 65,000, and I think you're still sitting fairly good. However, medical expenses have gone way up, and we're finding more and more that these state minimum coverages are just not sufficient. This last number that you're going to see, the 15 or the 15,000, is your property damage liability. So this is what's going to come basically from your side to pay for that other person's vehicle or property damage that you destroyed or ran into. Now, let's say we've got these state minimums and I've got the 65,000 here, and I run into a van load of people and I send them all to the hospital. Well, the max that's going to pay out is 65,000, and then the insurance company is going to come in and they're going to do a breakdown, and they're going to pay out to each individual until they hit that 65,000. So they're basically going to have percentages and do a bunch of math stuff that most of us aren't going to be aware of. But it's going to cap at $65,000. Here at Insurite, we generally recommend carrying a little bit higher limits. 100, 300, 100 are a more common limit that we see. That gives you $100,000 per person, $300,000 per accident, and $100,000 in property damage. Especially in our area here and in most areas around the country where the economy's picking up, people are buying nicer vehicles, and $15,000 on a minimum isn't really going to cover it if you total somebody's new BMW or Porsche or Land Rover, or whatever they happen to be driving these days. Most of the companies on this, it says or higher on this little high definition slide that I've got here. Most of them cap out at 250,000, 500,000, with a property damage limit of 100,000. They don't all do this. Some will go as high as 500, 500, 500, and you can go all the way up. There's a few that'll do all the way up to $1 million. In a future video, I'll talk to you about umbrella coverage, which will actually exceed this limit and keep you covered up a little bit higher. So, now you're asking, that's fantastic. What if the roles reversed, Adam? And I'm like, okay, so maybe the roles reversed. So somebody slams into you, and they have state minimum limits, and they've totaled your vehicle, but more importantly, they've sent you to the hospital. And so now you're sitting in the hospital, and you've got a bill that's $100,000, and you got a check from their insurance company for $25,000 to pay for your medical expenses. Where's that coming from? Well, the other form of liability coverage is your uninsured motorist and underinsured motorist, and these are the two coverages that are important that protect you as an individual on your insurance. And so let's say you had 100, 300, 100, and you had underinsured and underinsured with those matching limits. Well then, let's say your medical bills were $100,000. You had Joe Schmo pay his $25,000. Well, you have an extra 100,000, so they're going to be able to pay out that extra $75,000 in medical expenses. It is super important that you always have uninsured, underinsured to match your liability limits to other people, because these are the coverages that protect you as an individual physically, not just financially. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an overview on liability limits. If you have any additional questions, call me at any time or send me an email, and I'm happy to answer your questions. If you have ideas of future videos, I'd be more than happy to help you uh, by answering your questions. And then future topics coming up. There's another thing called combined single limit, which is a little bit different. The coverages we talked today are also referred to as split limit. There's a combined single limit, and then I have another upcoming video as what does full coverage really mean. So thanks all for watching, and we'll see you next time.